Okay, greetings, brothers and sisters. So yesterday I made a video, and it was Trump is a cancer on the truth community. I uploaded it, and YouTube yellowed it. This video may earn limited or no ad revenue due to content identified as not suited for most advertisers. And it says here this video is being reviewed to determine whether it's suitable for most advertisers. And when a human being sees this video, they're going to find, I would be shocked if they didn't, that it's advertiser friendly because it's mainstream media clips and then photos of things that, I had this Trump file that, was about mostly his first election in 2016, some of it 2017 and 18 probably, but mostly about 2015 and 16, things that were going on with Trump in the debates and some of his past, I covered him positively and negatively. And all these pictures, and there's like probably, I think there was like 200 of them I used. I'm making these compilations. Sometimes when I do an audio track, I'll have a compilation where, I take a folder I used to have, these various folders, like things that, were overpopulation or the economy, and I had all these images in there. And I turned them into like a video of images, and I use them. You guys see them over and over in when I do voiceovers. If I'm talking about the economy, I'll use that. If I'm talking about EMPs, electromagnetic pollution, I have one for that. Like all these folders I used to have. And so I did it for Trump, and a lot of funny images, a lot of interesting images there. And they yellowed it. And so I thought maybe there's an image in there, but then I uploaded the whole compilation, and YouTube didn't have a problem with that. That didn't get the yellow. That got a green here. A green is like these are all monetized videos. And so I made this available for members, until it gets yellowed. So that's an advantage I have now because of the membership. At least some people get to see it. But there's nothing in here that's not advertiser friendly. I took things out. I wanted to see if there's any images that were triggering this. I looked at it. I changed the title. I uploaded this 3 times, and YouTube yellowed it all 3 times because their algorithms suck. And it's gotten better. Like this was happening to lots of people because YouTube's lost control of their AI and their algorithms. But I want to talk about the conversation I had with my son. I'm going to move over to the voiceover portion here. Okay, so my son, I had conversation about this yesterday, and he's the only person that still lives with me, and he just turned 21. What I mean by that is the only one of my 4 children that still lives with me, and he's the youngest of my 4 children, the only one I still have contact with, and he spends a lot of time on the internet, and he was saying how YouTube just pisses him and his friends off. Like the vibe he gets from the people he's, his generation that he's talking to on the internet, and they all like dislike YouTube the way that, they dislike Facebook, and, the younger generation is moving on to different platforms. And his reasoning was as a customer, as a viewer, the algorithms keep on pushing content on him he doesn't want, which is YouTube's big problem. And I'm going to get into this because, this is what we're experiencing. That he's looking for a certain type of content and they keep on pushing their favorite stuff on him. He said there's this one guy who does comedy videos and he isn't funny. And he said he watched one video from the guy and they keep on recommending things and he doesn't want it, right? But other people he watches that he likes, he has trouble finding them. He has to go searching for their content. YouTube doesn't recommend it. And he's clearly watching a lot more of the other content, but YouTube's pushing this one guy. And it's a big problem, which you guys all know. And, that's from a customer perspective. Now, I have stuff as a creator, and, let me say this because it's important. I often talk about this when I talk about YouTube. I've always loved YouTube. I love it as a customer, as a viewer. I've learned so many things from YouTube videos and interesting people. I prefer it to most mainstream content. And, as a viewer, I have benefited from YouTube. As a creator, I was in a tough spot in India with my family and able to do this as a business, make it an economically profitable enough business for me to support my family through a difficult time, through a divorce and moving back to America and things. And so there's that. Plus, I met my wife through YouTube, probably the best thing, the best gift from YouTube. I mean, just a lot of good things have happened to me from YouTube as a creator and as a viewer. And as an older person, I don't like to change. And, there's all these, everything has a time where it's cool and then it becomes, like MySpace, right? It gives way to something else. The way YouTube, in a way, is given way to TikTok and these other platforms that are, younger people like, oh, that's what my parents used was YouTube, and we do this other thing, right? And so, for me, the YouTube's been great, but I don't really want to change it, even though there's issues. But the problem here, I'm not talking about a creator, not talking as a truther, just as a customer. I'm a customer and a partner for YouTube. I make money for YouTube. I am, I'm a good producer. I produce a lot of content, daily content. I have, a passionate audience base and things. And, people come to my channel. And as a viewer, I am a customer. And I, have YouTube premium stuff. I have their, YouTube TV and things like this. And they failed me on both levels. And one of the reasons I've been able to keep my channel going is I've stayed positive about it. Like I've stayed in a, good, positive framework. Like there's lots of problems and I just get over it. I don't dwell on them. I remember the things to be grateful for. I always work on gratefulness. And I'm grateful for YouTube for all the things that I've said, here, the benefits I've gotten from it. It's, been a positive thing in my life. But they're failing as business people, and I'm not a good business person. And if I can tell you what's wrong with your business and how to fix it, that means you suck. Like you absolutely suck at what you do. Because that's not my specialty. I'm not a good businessman. But the first big mistake they made that's caused problems is they started to, as a search engine, and basically YouTube and Google are search engines. YouTube has content on it, right? Whereas Google has other, the internet. But they're there to connect you with the content that you want. When you look up something on Google and you look up something on YouTube, they're there to facilitate and help you find what you're looking for. Back when I was a kid, you had to scroll through microfilm or microfiche to find old articles to do reports and things like this. You go to the library, and they had all these news articles, small versions of them, like really, like, they were like slides, and they had these machines that would blow up the slides so you could read them, and you had to search through, like, the searching process to find an article on something, an old article from 20 years ago or 5 years ago, like on Watergate or something, and you comb through these things. But now the internet, you could just search for it and find it. So much information. And there's so much information, finding what you want is very difficult, and the search engines help you find that. But Google and YouTube, because of being pressured by mainstream failing organizations and the powers that be, decided to one day, not that long ago, 2016, 17, give you information you didn't want. The customer would go and say, I want truther videos. I want alternative media videos. And YouTube's algorithms and their search engines would say, you're a dope. You don't know what you want. And what you want is bad for you because you're not an adult who can make that decision for themselves. We're going to give you authoritative news like CNN and MSNBC and Fox, which you don't want because you don't want that, but we're going to give it to you anyway. And we're going to make it hard for you to find the stuff that you do. We're not going to give you the results that you want. And so when they did that, YouTube and Google search are everything. And when they did that, they're giving the customer what they don't want. They're withholding what the customer does want. And, they know what the customer wants, and they'd be giving the customer that results before, and now they're saying, no, you don't want that. In fact, we're going to hide these channels, these truther channels, and I'm not talking as a truther. I'm talking as YouTube as a business. We're going to hide away the stuff that you don't want, or that you do want, and we're going to give you the stuff that you don't want that is totally available, because you could watch CNN in so many different places. You don't want to watch CNN, but we're going to force it on you anyway, because that's the real news. That's the real information. And you're too stupid to know that this stuff that, has failed and nobody wants and it's nobody's watching, and they're crying, CNN's crying because they're losing the competition with the internet. And the, powers that be, the intelligence community and all these organizations are saying, hey, don't allow them to hear the information that they do want. Don't let them decide for themselves. Game the system so that the stuff that they don't want is forced on them, and the stuff that they do want is hidden. And so once they did that, they failed as a business. YouTube is done. Google is done. And Google's searches is even worse. They've excluded the results that you do want, the things that you're actually looking for, and they're making it hard to find. And as a search engine, which is what Google is, fundamentally built on, it's a search engine, it's failing. Facebook the same way. When they were pressured to change what was given as results for the things that you're looking for, when they said the customer is too stupid to know, or too, whatever, was lower than us in some ways, and we got to give them the stuff that they've rejected, that they've made a decision upon years and years ago. We got to force that back on them and hide the other stuff. And they're all failing. They're all failed because of it. They violated the primary, business, the business creed of the customer is always right. Give the customer what they want. Give the customer what they're looking for. Don't tell the customer they're wrong and try to force something on the customer that they don't want. And you see it in movies with the woke stuff that's going in the movies. My son and I were talking about the Marvel movies yesterday, and the content that's there. And he was talking about in general that he sees it as well, that they're forcing an agenda on him. He's not really a truther in that way, and he's got his own, point of view. But him and his friends see it. They're being, this rhetoric is being forced on them across the board. And it's failing. Like, people are rejecting it because they're not going to watch it if that's all that's available. Going back to 3 channels when I was a kid, and the TV channels, that's not, people just find something else to do. If you're going to wreck the internet, or they're going to, get rid of those, they're not going to go to those platforms. Like my son and his friends, they don't want to go to YouTube. Like, they only go there if there's, something specific. And he was like, why don't you get a TikTok thing? And I'm like, TikTok doesn't work for me. But that's what their view is. Just go to TikTok, right? Because TikTok doesn't censor what people are getting. He said that there was a time that it did, and people bailed on it, and they learned their lesson, and they're not doing that, right? That they're, not gaming the results. If you look for something in their search engines, you find what you're looking for. And that's a Chinese company, right? So this American companies that are connected to the intelligence community and the government, and these, they've made these deals with the devil to be prominent, are now being, hung by those connections. They're choosing the mainstream power brokers over the people that built their platforms, and people just aren't into it. And so there's that part of it. And then there's the advertiser part of it. So the social media business model is built on getting users, getting customers. And you can sell, you can collect data from the customers and sell that. You can, whatever way you monetize your user base, right? But to be successful on social media, you need users. Users bring in income. Users are used to show that you have a viable business plan and you have a commodity, a product that people want. And so, it's the same thing with movies and TV shows. You need to get viewers. And then once you get the viewers locked in, you got something that people want to watch, you can run advertisements. And advertisers want to be associated with the brand of the movie, right? You want to be associated with the Marvel universe or Avatar or whatever it might be, right? They want their, product to be associated with the content that people adore and look up to or whatever, which is a little bit harder on social media because the companies don't understand necessarily the content or the people, and it's much smaller groups, right? Much smaller YouTube channels or Instagram pages or whatever it might be. But in terms of YouTube and Google search, they get a user base and they need to sell ads to those users, sell products to those users through advertisement. And that's where they derive their income, right? One of the income streams is selling people's data, and another income stream is ad revenue. And so the most money I've ever made on YouTube was during the 2020 election, because there was so much ad buys there. And for politicians, they just want to get in front of as many eyeballs as possible, right? They're not selling a product. They're trying to win over voters. And they just have, Biden had like 2 billion, Trump had 1 billion, whatever it was. And they just ran all these ads, and then third-party ads, and all these other smaller congressional ads and things like this. And during that year, the advertisement for the election, and then Christmas is a big time where there's all these people advertise things for Christmas, and so that's where you make your money on YouTube, is in the the winter months leading up to Christmas. That's when you make the most money. That's when it costs the most to run ads. And as many of you know, I decided to make a short video that was a, 15-second non-skippable ad. It ended up being a skippable ad, but, that's what the guy chose to do, which is probably better for me because I don't have to pay for the ones that are skipped, right? So I decided to run this ad. And I went through a whole process, which I've talked about before. The first person tried to force me and argued with me and browbeat me into advertising on Google ads. And she didn't know what she was doing. She didn't know what I wanted. She didn't understand the customer needs. She sucked at her job, basically. And she ended up running it not as a YouTube ad that would appear before YouTube video, but as in search, when YouTube search. So somebody searched for comedy videos, they would get my 15-second ad, and that wasn't the appropriate place for it. And I talked to her again, and she said, well, I told you to do the other. And I'm like, you suck at your job, right? You're horrible at it. And then another guy who was higher up in the food chain called me and recognized what I wanted and saw that it was an ad. And, we ran the ad before people's videos. But the problem was they don't have any demographics for spiritual people, for God. Like these keywords and things you can put in, but in terms of the demographics that they're offering to people, the truth community that makes up from 30 to 50%, people watch so-called conspiracy theory videos. They watch truther videos. People are into it. It was a huge part of YouTube and still is, even though YouTube wants to get rid of it. It helped build the platform, and they're a huge demographic, and there's plenty of businesses that would benefit from marketing to this demographic. There are, survival stuff and, hunting, gun kind of stuff, all these things, right? Any number of politicians. There's a lot of people out there that want to reach this demographic, but YouTube doesn't have a category for them because they're ignoring, with all the data they're collecting and all the information they have, they're ignoring a huge demographic that's that some advertisers would want to get to. And because of that, my ad really can't be successful because they can't run it with normies and, dopes and, have them see it and click through to my channel, right? And so this guy's running an ad campaign, and he did everything right, but the YouTube setup, the algorithms, and their AI stuff is warning people away from demographics like the ones I want. Spirituality as well, right? Things to do with God and the meditation I talk about here. And they don't have anything for religion or spirituality. Like, that's a monster demographic. Half the population of the world is religious or spiritual and very passionate about it. And people used to want to, market to that demographic. They spend money. The people who are godly will spend money on godly things. And, there's advertisers that companies that want to reach that demographic, and YouTube doesn't have anything for that demographic because they're destroying, their business model sucks, right? And they're destroying the very premise of their business. And any business is to give the customers what they want and understand and get to know their customers. Instead, they're trying to tell their customers, just like in the movies and, Disney and all these other corporations, entertainment corporations, saying, you want woke culture. No, we don't want woke culture. Yeah, you do want woke culture. And you want the stuff with gender. You want we don't want that. Well, we're going to give it to you anyway. You want feminist? Yeah, everything's going to be feminist. And we're going to push it on you in a non-natural or organic way. In terms of the story and the plot and the narratives and the character arcs, we're just going to force it on you any way possible, in some way that you're going to see it and piss you. It's going to piss you off, and people are, and they've destroyed the entertainment industry. They've destroyed the social media platforms by doing this, because people are, they might come back because they have nowhere else to go, but that's about it. Like, they're coming back because, like, that's what's happening to me. Like, I don't have a backup plan. There's no better game in town. But YouTube sucks. So in terms of the advertisements that I've been doing, I've actually, since they've been running the ad, I've lost subscribers. And so I was at 200,712 at one point. And now it's at 641. So that's, a substantial amount of subscribers that I've lost since they've been running the ads. And my other channel, and I'm down 123 subscribers in the last 28 days. So they're running ads. And the reason I'm paying them to do their job, because, again, I have been a good, contributor to the YouTube, whatever it is, right? The platform. I've had a YouTube channel since 2007. I made it, my business and my primary source of income in 2014. And I've made, a ton of content. I've received millions of views. In fact, I can just go to the analytics here. And so, in terms of like lifetime, and again, I've deleted a number of videos that were, one had 2 million views. So it says I have 113 million views. And again, I've deleted videos that have, there would be, I don't know, it wouldn't be twice that, but there's a number of videos that had lots and lots of views at the beginning. 11 million minutes of watch time, and, all these other things, right? Bringing, people to this platform, people coming to watch this platform. Also, I have now a membership program where they get a cut of that, right? And, all these ways that I have been good for YouTube. I've held up my end of the partnership. And I've, learned to navigate their ever-changing community guidelines, rules, and all these other things, right? And I'm not saying this like as a bitter person or whatever, but it's clearly there for me that I've held up my end. From their end, they get advertisers. They get people to run ads on my videos, which is something I don't want to do. I don't want to take that job on. That would suck for me. And they give access to my channel. They provide people, they put my channel out there in front of people. But I showed you in a recent video, when you Google Pockets of the Future, which is clearly, I'm the person who's made that brand and that name. The first thing it doesn't come up, my YouTube channel doesn't come up on the first page at all, right? The YouTube channel that they benefit from on Google's ads doesn't come up on the the page. In the YouTube, it comes up like 6th or 7th. It doesn't come up right away. People have trouble finding my channel on YouTube and Google, even though I've provided income, and people come here just for there's people who just watch my videos and don't use the platform otherwise. And so they should be sending my videos and recommending my videos to people, and people who are searching for videos like mine And again, the truth community is a part of YouTube. Like they might not like it, but they used to love it. They used to let you do whatever you wanted and say whatever you want. And then the restrictions started to come in, and whatever that is, right? But in terms of the truth world, I'm much a more reasonable and mature person. I don't post salacious things. I, more or less fact check everything I put out there. I make things light. I'm not, saying things that are inflammatory. I'm not provoking people and with rage and emotions and things. And I have a, different way of looking at it, a more calm way. People come to my videos because, they can laugh at stuff or it's lighter or whatever. And so in terms of the truth community and YouTube's preferences, I'm kind of the best that they got. Like I'm the, a person that would, they'd be better off dealing with me than dealing with some of the crazy MNFers that are out there, that are, causing their brand damage and causing problems for them or whatever it might be, right? I'm a much more reasonable person. And there's going to be people watching truth videos, so it would be in their best interest to promote mine. But, it's all algorithms and all, there's no human decision-making process here. And so we're all swept up in the same categories. But in terms of that, that's something that as business people they would look at. And had YouTube kept their, the old ways they used to do things, they didn't game their algorithms to push you towards CNN and MSNBC, I would be at maybe 500,000, maybe 1 million subscribers, right? Like my subscriber base was growing. But now it's a very, small amount of people that end up getting my videos recommended to them, right? Just very few people. And I've adopted the shorts and things and changed the way I do things to try to, bring in more people because that's what I need to do to sustain this channel, right? And I've, worked hard to do that. And now they're giving me less ad revenue. They're giving us all less ad revenue. YouTube's failing because, they're not giving the customers what they want. And, I don't know why anybody would run ads on YouTube when the system sucks, right? They're not able to deliver results, right? I'm basically advertising for more viewers, more subscribers, and I've lost subscribers and my view count hasn't gone up. In that same period of time, so the ad shows that there's a link to my Pockets of the Future channel, right? But then on my other channel, the Apocalypse Now channel, which recently had a couple of community guideline strikes, there has been 528 new subscribers in the last month. And, that's after not being able to upload, so that channel is growing and that's not benefiting from the ad. So the channel I'm running on the ad is running ads on. YouTube should do everything in their power to make sure I get more subscribers. It doesn't hurt them. Like they should say, all right, we want to, get ad revenue from this guy. If they bring more subscribers into me, I would spend more money because the more money I spent, the more subscribers I get, the more money I make. And so it would be a win-win. They would get more and more money from me. They would get money in 2 ways. Three ways. They get money from the memberships, they get money from the ads, and they get money from me running ads. So they're winning 3 ways, right? All they have to do is make sure they recommend my videos to more and more people and, find some way to run the ads in front of the appropriate people so that it would be effective. It wouldn't be that hard. Like, they just have to have the proper demographics and the proper everything. And so the failure is epic, where I can see that by doing nothing on the one channel that they seem to like better, even with it has an active community guideline strike even now, is gaining subscribers. In the last month it's gained 500, and the one I'm running ads on has lost 150. That's it's like a 700 subscriber. I mean, it's more than 500, so 500 and some, whatever. And so it's almost 700 subscriber difference between running ads or not. And more of my subscribers get recommended my videos on that other channel. So there's all of that, right? And I'm saying this because, not as a truther, but just as a, customer and a business person, that they suck, right? They're failing. Google and YouTube is failing. And I've experienced now on all levels their failure. their inability to run a successful business with all of the resources at their disposal. Their algorithms are failing, their AI is failing, their bots are failing, their people are failing, their their business plan, their model, their way of going about it. This is all failing. And there's, a lack of continuity. So when I'm running the Google ads on a YouTube, they should involve YouTube and say, look, you guys should start recommending this guy's channel. Find people that will, that will benefit from or want to see this guy's channel. And as they run the ads, unlock some of the things of what they're doing on my other channel and make sure that I get subscribers. Because I'll still buy ads. I'll buy ads if I'm forced to do that, right? But there's no continuity. There's no consciousness there. It's all bots and, they don't have any way. And again, I'm a customer. I have YouTube Premium. I have YouTube, TV. I have all these other things, right? And so they should look at me as a valued commodity, right? I bring money in for them. I also avail myself of their services. I watch a lot of videos on their channels and, whatever it is, right? And so, like, the way that they've treated me, and I don't, I'm not a victim here, but just, it's like, if there was anything better for me, if there was an alternative, and don't, I don't want to hear it. Don't tell me there's Rumble or there's TikTok. You don't know what my needs are. And I've said this before. You're just, well, for you, yeah, you could watch my videos here. You could watch them on Rumble. Rumble won't provide me income or more viewership, right? Rumble is, not financially viable for me. I can't make an income on Rumble. And so that's not an option. And all these other platforms aren't an option for me. And in terms of doing it on, say, subscriber base where there's a paywall, I don't have enough people to pay for that. Even with the membership, it would be, right now the membership I'm making about 1/6 of what I would need as a bare minimum of money. With all the members, there's over 100 or so, right? And so, it won't work for me doing it that way. So I've looked at my options, and it's YouTube or just quit, right? Like, that's about it. That's me not making videos. So your suggestions aren't helpful. There isn't a platform out there that would meet my needs, right? So that's where I am, where YouTube is the only game in town, and they suck, right? And so, like, instead of making a video, I was going to do some homesteading videos today. And by the time they release this video, it could be on a day that I'm going to release 2 videos. So it'd be 2 hours of content on the same channel, or, when I release a Journey Series video. I'm making more content than people can keep up with, which is part of the problem. And, if I hadn't had the health stuff and it's raining now, I would just say F it and start doing farm work and take a couple days off. But it's like been raining the last 3 days. We've had drought now since raining again. And so, I have to limit my time on the tractor and things with the back spasms, which is, it seems to be the rhomboid muscle, because I've been doing stretches for that, and I found that, and taking oxygen has been, basically the spasms have disappeared. It could be posture stuff and other things, but at least that's some of it. And I got people trying to diagnose me, and I got like 7, 8 people who left severe diagnoses on limited information, talking out of their ass, right? Oh, my grandmother had this, like, that's not helpful. If you're trolling, sure, that's a good way to troll somebody. But saying somebody has some, life-ending condition because you've heard a few things that I've said, you don't do that. Like, it's just not smart to do that. Like, you don't throw things out there. Lucky for me, I'm not my mom was kind of a hypochondriac, so I tried to put the least amount of attention into my health as I can. As I've gotten older, I'm just an older person and things aren't, going so well. But I'm fit. I'm, like, I walk 6, 7 miles a day. I do farm work every day. I'm very active. I cook meals. I do other things on a daily basis, right? I'm moving around, getting exercise, and I produce a lot of work here. I produce, hours of content every day for this YouTube channel, and then I do lots of farm work. So I'm a healthy person, right? My body still works. It's just not as well as it did when I was younger. And I have some issues now, and I have to address those. And some of that is I have to do some stretching and things like this. And, I used to do like some levels of stretch yoga and things like that. So I just have to reincorporate some of these other things, which, I enjoy doing. It's not a problem. I just don't have a lot of time for it. But, those are things that I've gotten older. I've lost some mobility and things. And like I said, it seems to be the rhomboid muscle. It seems like I was low on oxygen since having COVID because that's helping me. Like, for example, if I took a melatonin at night, which I, do occasionally, and I take a bare minimum, I would sleep well, but I'd wake up with a headache. And now that I'm doing the oxygen, that doesn't seem to be the case, right? I haven't had a headache since I've been, using these, oxygen, little cans of oxygen that you can buy. These boost oxygen things. Again, not recommending something, but it's working for me. But when you leave a comment saying, "Oh, I think you have this, horrible, health thing," again, it just would lead to somebody reading, "Oh, like the symptom sounds like my symptoms," right? So many things that are out there I have felt were like symptoms that could describe what I had. The muscle spasms, and I don't think it's a heart related thing, but it could be, right? And so that's an issue. But my heart has been good. I don't feel anything in my heart. I'm not, having any, I had the palpitations and things and the, out of rhythm things from COVID, but I don't feel like there's some heart issue. But occasionally it's like maybe there is, right? Maybe there's a, something going on there in my vascular system. But allopathic medicine has not really worked for me. I'm very sensitive to the medications and I react strongly to them and I can't take them, even something like Advil. And they often misdiagnose me. And, the good thing about allopathic medicine is their diagnostic abilities. And I've had a number of times where they misdiagnosed me or they couldn't figure out what was going on. But I used alternative medicines and that helped a lot. Or I just didn't do anything and it went away, right? And so, that's basically the way I do things. Unless there's something severe, I'm not going to go to the allopathic system. I'd have to have something really bad. And if I did, I'm not going to take their medications and their healing methodology because it doesn't work for me, and I don't view it as a good health system. And so I'm limited to what I'm doing, and I'm doing all the things that I need to do, that I know that I can do. I've done lots of research now and sort of invested in my health, and I feel relatively better than I did that one day when I made the video. And I don't think it was a heart thing. I'm 99% sure there's not a heart related thing to the spasms now. But there's something there, there was something, a nerve thing or whatever, something related with COVID or whatever. But I don't feel like the, allopathic model will help me figure it out. And we'll see. If it goes away, it goes away, and that's great. And if it continues, I'll have to, invest more time and energy into it. But, please don't leave some kind of diagnosis, unlimited information if you think you're helping me, because you're not. Like, it's not helpful. Oh yeah, someone I knew had this thing and they died last week. Like, because why would you throw that out there? It's not, it's not helpful to anybody. But anyways, like I got to get going on my Hollywood Celebrity Dropping Like Flies video, and hopefully this other video will be up tonight or whatever. I don't know. Like, probably be tomorrow, and I'll have 2 videos up tomorrow. So that's what I'm talking about. YouTube has failed. Like Google and YouTube have failed. Anyways, only spirituality will save this world. It's Paul Romano, definitely pointing for the apocalypse and the ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.